Welcome back to another episode of the Prove Me Wrong podcast. I'm your host, Pete Lieb. We have a great show tonight. I think it should be a lot of fun. My guest tonight is Erica Sodos. She is a psychic entertainer, a mind reader in the Denver, Colorado area. And we're going to discuss magic, some telepathy, empathy, a whole range of topics tonight that I have been interested in, seems like forever. I've always wanted to unlock more of the powers of my mind if that's possible. Maybe Erica can help me with that. Erica has been entertaining and helping both individuals and organizations tap into their magic within for over 30 years and has made 5,000 appearances nationwide. She is a magician, psychic entertainer, speaker, and one of only a handful of female mentalists in the world. She has a monthly show called The Magic Within, Psychic Explorations with Erica Sodos, that is one of the longest running solo shows in Denver, going on over 7 years now. Erica is a lover of all things nature and all things unseen. She portrays mystical characters, including elemental fairies and elves, while teaching magical lore to people of all ages. Her book, The Empath: Journey to the Magic Within, guides readers on a journey to tap into their magic within and helps them experience more magic in their lives. You can find more about Erica and purchase her book through her website, ericasodos.com, and you can find her on Facebook as well, Erica Sodos Magical Enchantress, or Erica Sodos YouTube channel. So, welcome Erica to the show.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here and chat with you.
Absolutely. So, if you can, so you have been a psychic entertainer now for over 30 years, based on the bio I just read. How did you get started on that path?
The path to be a psychic entertainer? Well,
right.
Actually, it's definitely morphed through, and snaked its way to different things. And as a psychic entertainer, it kind of threads together everything I've been doing my whole life. I got my first tarot deck when I was 17, and I went to India in my 20s to become enlightened. So I always had that very spiritual way of looking at the world. And I actually was a clown. I became a professional clown in my early 20s and then a magician. And when I found mentalism and psychic entertaining, it weaved everything I love together. I loved, enchanting people to believe in the impossible. And I like how you said you want to unlock the power of your mind. And that's essentially why I do everything, is to inspire people to believe in their magic. Like when I do shows or readings, it's about the person. So I guess I haven't actually been doing the psychic entertaining maybe for 30 years, but it's like it just threaded everything together. Magic, performing, acting, spirituality. I love it. It touches people. Psychic entertainment really moves people to believe.
So you also, do you consider yourself a sensitive? Are you psychic as well? Do you do readings and things like that?
Yeah. So I do readings, private readings, as well as one of my favorite is to do readings in a performance, because it creates this kind of group empathy and people really relate. And let's face it, a lot of people have the same questions. And again, the word divination isn't to tell people their future. It's the etymology is to be inspired by a god. So it's just inspiring people. But I think we're all psychic. I know there are psychics who don't say that, but I believe that what I do is that unique and something that you can't do.
Yeah, that was my next question. Was your book references the magic within all of us. So you feel like we are all sensitive and maybe just haven't fostered those abilities, haven't flexed that muscle?
Correct. It's really about paying attention, isn't it? I mean, have you been in a relationship where someone is feeling a certain way and they're saying, Pete, hello, how have you not known? Maybe that never happened to you.
No, it happens. Yeah, it happens.
Okay. Well, if we're not noticing the feelings of those around us, how can we hear our own intuition as well as fairies or angels or elves or, the unseen? If we can't even see the seen, if that makes sense.
No doubt. So you were talking about, and again in the bio here, that you are a mentalist. What does a mentalist mean? How is that different than a mind reader? I don't really know much about mentalists. I saw a television show that was called The Mentalist. The Mentalist to me seemed more like I am forcing you to think something versus actually kind of reading your mind. What's the difference?
Oh, did you watch that show? I've never seen it, but that is a term. Did you like it? I've heard it was really good.
No, yeah, absolutely. I liked it, but it definitely seemed more like that was a performance to me. Mentalism was more of a performance. He did not have or proclaim to have any special abilities. He could just, he would give you a set of parameters and kind of force you to the point where you thought it was your idea, right?
Oh, is that what he did in the show? I haven't seen the show.
Right, that's what he did in the show. Correct.
Okay. Right. So you're kind of asking, how is mentalism, mind reading, are they the same or are they different, that kind of thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, so mind reading, it generally means telepathy, right? So that would be tele, distance, pathos, right? From Latin or Greek, means feeling, right? Telepathy, it's a Greek. So it's a distant feeling. So it's to feel, know, experience the thoughts and experiences of another person. So that, the essence, is mind reading. Mentalism can encompass a lot of abilities. So there's psychokinesis. There's just so many different kinds of skills you can have. Memory, moving things. Again, the power of the mind. There's so many. Empathy, intuition, predictions. That's a form of mentalism. Now, generally, mentalism does tend to mean performance. And that's why I use that word, because while I do private readings or group readings, I'll do a lot of home or corporate psychic parties. I really do like being on a stage and performing, because I see performance as the ancient Greeks, I see it as medicine and therapy and healing. So to me, being on stage as a mentalist allows me to be a performer, really touching people. And so, yes, I am a performer. I am doing a lot of different things in my shows. And that's what I think makes it so fascinating, because it's real magic meets performance magic.
And
Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. And I did want to ask you that question as well about being a performer on stage, but then also doing those private shows. And I'm not going to ask what you like more, because I'm sure they all have their own different appeal. But what are the different goals of each service in terms of the bigger crowds and then the private interactions? What are you hoping to get out of each one?
Yeah. And I think that is a great question, because again, it comes to the core of what my purpose is, or what everyone's purpose is, right? It's because a lot of people, especially if they're a creative, might do a lot of different things. So when people go to theater, go to a show, generally they're going to be entertained. Okay. So that is the audience's perspective. And when someone's coming to my home for a reading or doing it via, technology, it's generally almost the same reason that someone would go to therapy. They're coming for the reading because they need help on something. They want insight. But you see, I don't see a separation, right? So that is in the person coming to me. But for me personally, I see entertainment as medicine. So I spent a long time in Greece, as I was saying, researching the theaters, and the ancient Greeks would go to the theater for therapy, right? They'd go through cathartic healing experiences. And that's what I hope to take people on in my shows. And so when people say, "Oh my God, you're amazing," that compliment is, when they say, "I'm so inspired, I feel moved, I feel as if I just heard that song and now a message is coming to me," or I feel the energy of a loved one lost giving me a message, or so I hope that answers your question, because I think when someone's coming to my house, it's different. And that's, I think, why I like performance, because I do like private readings too, but it's easier in performance to give them a dose of medicine. Whereas when they're coming for a reading, I still, as I like to say, it's like a show. I still do some fun, creative things in the reading. It's not your typical reading, But I'm sure
you probably also have those readings where there's a lot of weight to it. Sometimes people will come to you because they have a very specific connection they're looking to make, or something very emotional for them or very important to them. So that was kind of my question. How do those come across? Because I get it. The shows on stage are probably just all about fun and laughter and happiness. But I'm sure there are those people who come in and to them, they are really looking to make a connection. They've lost a loved one. They're wanting to talk, maybe connect with them. Those are those difficult for you? They would be hard for me, quite honestly.
Yeah. So first, I just want to acknowledge something you just said, which is when people go to the show. So when people go to the show, there is a lot of laughter and fun, and I hope for that in my readings too. But they're not just that. So the monthly show is called The Magic Within, Psychic Explorations with Erica Sodos, and it's definitely medicine. People come with questions. People will come up on stage, and I test their psychic powers. So it definitely has, and we answer questions, and some of them aren't, all love, light, and roses, right? Because, the world, as you know, because you're in it, has a lot of darkness, and that
True.
can be inside of us as well. And so there's that. So my shows are really fun, don't get me wrong, but they're also they also deep. So when people come for readings, what I think is fascinating is a lot of people, just to answer your question, come for readings, but they already know. So I had a woman come who was abused by her partner.
Mm-hmm.
They broke up. They've been on and off many times. And she'd come to a lot of my shows, so she knows me, and I've answered her questions over the time. I have some regulars who come back. And so she's asking me if she should get back together with him. Well, Pete, I could probably ask you, and you don't even call yourself psychic. Do you think she should get back together with him?
I would say hard no, if it was me.
Of course. And she's looking at me for the answer. And so
she's looking for someone to validate her. She wants to go back, and she's hoping and beyond hope that you'll say, yeah, give him another try. And that just doesn't make common sense, right?
Right. And so I think what I have a challenge with is the powerlessness in our society. We're kind of taught to give our power to other people.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And so when people come to me for a reading, it's as if they want me to tell them. But I say, you know what this card is saying, right? You already know. I mean, 9 times out of 10, they know. No,
yeah, you absolutely have. Really, you have an enormous power because those people are coming to you yearning for you to tell them what to do. And there are, to your point, there are a lot of people in the world who they're kind of rudderless. They're just looking for that guidance. They're looking for someone to tell them how to do things and where to go. And that's a lot of power, or a lot of responsibility for you as well. Like I said, I don't know how much I would like that. I'll be honest. Somebody coming to me saying, please tell me what to do and where to go.
Right. Hence performing. You might like that better too.
Absolutely. I think that would be great. And you do a lot of magic in your show, right? And actual magic tricks. Is that correct?
Well, excuse me. I am a magician as well. And I do magic shows, not as often, but sometimes when I play fairies and different characters, I will do magic. In my psychic show, I don't do anything that I would call magic, but I sort of have a little spiel I give at the beginning that kind of explains what's going on for people. How is it real? Is it not real? The shamans and healers of old, a long time ago, when people believed, right, that in the rain, creating the rain by movement, they would sometimes use trickery or theatrics. Let's call it theatrics in their practices. But it doesn't mean that there wasn't real power that they had. So, does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Yeah. So you're saying primarily you do readings or psychic entertaining, right? So you're primarily doing tarot readings or astrology. Do you do astrology?
I love astrology and I know about it, but no, I don't know enough to do astrology. And when you say tarot, you mean in my shows or one-on-one, or what do you mean?
Right. I'm assuming one-on-one because you said you do magic occasionally, but primarily you do the psychic shows.
Yeah, I still do magic, and I do palm readings. That's a form of divination I absolutely love because it's on people's hands. That's one of my faves, actually. Palm reading. And I'll do palm reading parties, which is really fun. And again, people will try to book me for a one-on-one palm reading, and I try to encourage them to have group palm reading. I once did, hundreds of people at a time, and you just read everyone together, and it's really fun and entertaining, and people are engaged and they learn about each other. And that's how I like to do it too. It's really fun.
No doubt. Those type of things always, well, I mean, honestly, I was always a little skeptical of them, looking at your hand and kind of seeing where your life's going to go from there, or astrology. And that's kind of why I had asked that question is, what's kind of the theory behind it? Do people really identify with their sign? They wear necklaces, with the bull horns because they're a Taurus, or, blaming their actions on their astrological signs. I never really understood the power of it, but then they'll read things and they'll say that describes me perfectly.
Yeah.
Is it really kind of the power of suggestion that molds their actions into those characteristics, or is there something more mystical about it? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's actually scientific. I mean, the older I get, I realize that there's actually so much science about the woo, what we would call the woo-woo. So many people don't know that word, but I'm sure you know it with your podcast, right?
Sure, yeah.
Woo-woo. Yeah. I've said it to a couple of people and recently, and they had no idea what I was saying. But the woo-woo. So again, not an astrology expert, but I love astrology. So have you had your planets charted where you know the houses and the planets and all that, or no? You just know your sun sign?
I just know that I was born on October 18th, and it makes me a Libra. I mean, that's really the extent of it.
Me too. I'm a Libra too. May I ask you what year you were born?
73.
Okay. So, so I don't know enough about that year, but I'm a Libra too, but I wasn't born that year. Anyway, so so Libra, you know a lot of the qualities about Libra, but I have a different rising sign, my moon sign. I have 5 planets in one of my houses. It's actually, in astrology, there's a lot of minutia. Mm-hmm. It's crazy how far down the rabbit hole you can go. I definitely believe in astrology, and I think it's way more than the power of suggestion. That's the horoscopes. The horoscopes in a mainstream paper I don't think they do astrology justice at all.
Well, yeah, there are definitely different levels to it, because like what you just said there, you could work on that for a week to get all of that stuff correct, but then somehow it spits out, who you are, what you're going to do, what your inclinations are. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much. This is just my personal thing. I don't know how much I believe in, quote unquote, fate or destiny, or what versus I make a choice, a set of decisions, and then there are outcomes from those decisions. I don't know. I mean, I'm up in the air on it, really. But it's always been interesting to me.
We're spoken like a true Libra, right? Libra's
Touché,
justice.
You got me.
Libra's justice. Libra has to, see both sides, and you want to know. I think it would be really interesting. You can get your charts done for free online. You could just Google, and then you put in all the things, as long as you know where you were born and what time you were born. Mm-hmm. And then you can get everything about your chart. I don't always like those. I've tried those before. I feel like they are a little cookie cutter. A real talented astrologer. And again, that's where it comes from. It's like if intuition meets the form. So with palm reading, and we can go back to astrology if you want. I love astrology.
Go ahead. Keep going.
It's fascinating. But it's the same with palm reading. So a really talented palmist isn't just like someone reading tarot. I mean, you could take a card and say, the card means this, or that line on your hand means this. It's very cookie cutter. And that's cool. You could learn tarot without ever studying the meanings of the cards. You could just use your intuition. But I think the best, the humans that have mastered, who know, I guess it's like any art form, right? Mm-hmm. Even music. You learn the form and then you use your creativity or your intuition, which I think are very related, creativity and intuition.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, I'll definitely can believe it's real. I probably just have never been involved with somebody like you're talking about, someone that really understands what they're talking about and isn't just going through the motions. Most of the time I ever see that, I'm at an Oktoberfest somewhere or a Halloween fest, where somebody's dressed up like a palm reader and they're just telling you whatever they know, whatever they learn from the script they've got on the side. So it would be interesting to me to have that done by a professional. That would certainly be fun.
Yeah.
For sure.
So do you think that they're making up so you've had palm readers say, look at your hand. So do you think they're making it up, Or do you think they're actually basing it on the science, if you believe it's a science, but what the books tell you? Oh, the headline's doing this, so this means this.
Yeah.
Or do you think they're totally making it up?
Well, I just think that they are being purposefully vague and saying things that then I will do the heavy lifting and mold that into my life. You know what I'm saying? So they'll say something that's, purposely vague. Hey, you'll have a wonderful life with many children. Well, what does that mean? Okay. Is this too many? Is 5 many? Well, I have 2 children. I have many children. So
that wouldn't make me happy.
But
so not everyone would like that.
True. But I'm just saying, those type of things where they give you a big picture, and then I have to kind of do the heavy lifting and work my way into that picture. So, I would rather be able to say, again, maybe being that, I don't know if it's that Libra thing again, saying, I want to see the evidence of it. I want you to say to me specifically, hey, you've been married. You're going to be married for 20 years. And you're going to have 2 children, a boy and a girl. I'm like, oh, wow. And then that happens. That to me is, something interesting. That could do it.
Right. Again, and that would be more the person's psychic intuitive hits, because palm reading, and it's interesting, palm reading is based on astrology, palmistry. Mm-hmm. Each finger represents a planet. Right, so the thumb is Mars, the pinky is Mercury. So the pinky is Mercury. Mercury is about communication. So then everything about the communication is on that finger. So it's really cool because it's funny we're talking about those 2 art forms. But here's something simple that palmistry could probably tell you. So, Pete, are you right-handed?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so which on your right hand is your index finger or your ring finger longer?
My index finger is longer.
Okay. So if your index finger is longer, so the index finger is the finger of business, getting things done. And then the ring finger is the finger of creativity, Apollo, the sun. It's more artistic, not very grounded. So by your index finger being longer, I would say you definitely are more practical. You'd be good, even though you have this podcast, you're obviously really interested in things, but you don't just jump in, right? You're not, oh my God, you're pretty grounded for somebody who interviews all these people, these different kinds of eccentric, interesting people. But you could also be good in business, starting your own business, for example. So is that accurate?
Yeah, I would like to. Yeah, I think it's accurate. Absolutely. For sure. And
so that's the kind of thing.
And the reason that's interesting though, because the reason I kind of giggled when you asked me that was because we were watching a television show the other day with my wife and my daughter, and it's a new show called Upload, but they have a telephone in their hand, and so they showed their hands a lot, and I noticed for the first time, I had never noticed somebody's ring finger being longer than their index finger, and I thought they were deformed. I was like, what is wrong with that person's ring finger being longer than their index finger? Because my index finger was always longer. And so then we went to each of us, and we were, measuring our ring fingers and index fingers. So it was just funny that you mentioned, you brought up that finger, because it was 3 days ago that we did that. And, my wife's ring finger is longer than her index finger, and my daughter's is about the same. I would say her index is a little bit longer. But it was just interesting you said that, because I had never seen it. I thought they were deformed, quite honestly. So,
I see that. Then you realize, wait, my wife and kid aren't.
Yeah,
deformed,
right.
so
all of a sudden, they're deformed too. No,
I'll tell you what that means.
Sure.
And you can tell me if I'm accurate. Okay. And I think it's fascinating. Synchronicity is one of my favorite words. I have a lot of routines in my show about synchronicity. I love that concept.
Absolutely.
You were just doing that. So is your wife like this? So your wife would probably be really good at art, pursuing some sort of creative juncture. And if she's not, she just really appreciates beauty. Mm-hmm. So, or collecting art or something like that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a total artist herself, but she's really into art and beauty. And then for your daughter, when they're about the same, that can mean that the person can actually create something that's pretty odd, and they also have the ability to sell it, right? So it's that they balancing those two sides, the more practical with the more creative. So does that fit your daughter and your wife, would you say? Or
I think you nailed it. I mean, my wife, whether or not she's talented artistically is not the same as she loves to do crafts and she loves to color. She'll literally sit there and she'll color. You get her gel pens, gel coloring pens for Christmas. And that's her favorite gift. So she definitely enjoys that kind of thing. And my daughter definitely, she'll also do artwork, but she was the little girl who would build bows out of duct tape and then try to go out and sell them when she was a child. So she did. She would build these little duct tape bow ties or
no way.
Or hair bows is what they were. And then she'd go out on the end of the driveway and try to sell them to people who were passing by. It was like, wow, you nailed it, at least to me. That's
cool.
Excellent. So let me ask you this. So you are a magician as well. You are a magician. How did you go about becoming a professional magician? How does one do that?
So I am a theater person. That's my background.
Uh-huh.
I did all the plays when I was a kid, drama school, drama camp, my bachelor's in theater. And I'm from New York, but I moved to San Francisco because I'm also the heart of a flower child. And so I thought that was the place to be and pursue acting, which of course really not. And then I met a professional clown, and then I discovered my love of slapstick and physical comedy, right? So I was doing just a little bit of magic, not a lot, not any kind of skilled magic really that took 100 hours of practice, which I have done, and now I can do things with it that require a lot of practice. And I was doing that because obviously pursuing acting and making a living doing that was not happening in San Francisco. And so then I moved to Colorado, and I remembered that when I was a young child, I was really into magic, and I'd completely forgotten because I had a very traumatic upbringing. So I blocked a lot. I have blocked some of it out, but my parents got me my dad got me a magic kit, and there's all these pictures of me with like a cape and a hat doing magic. So it was something I was interested in. And then I went to see a magic show at a Fringe Fest, and then someone turned me on to a magic convention locally. And then I met a magician who's also into real magic, who hosts alchemical fire circles in the desert of Vegas. But he's also a very well-respected magician. Jeff McBride is his name. And then I went and studied at his mystery school in Vegas, and hence the magic began. And then that's really when I kind of went full circle too, back into the land of psychic mentalism things.
So when you say mystery school, does that mean what kind of school is that? I mean, is it just a curriculum? Do you go in and they teach you how to do the tricks? What goes on in the mystery school?
So it's a magic and mystery school. The mystery schools of old were quite powerful. It's something that it's sort of a legacy, the history that people don't talk about, the more mystical past. But this particular school is primarily training, I guess you could say training or teaching all kinds of magic, different kinds of magic, sleight of hand, street magic, mentalism, different things. And they have different kinds of courses and classes and stuff in Vegas. But it also blends the power that magic has to touch people. So it's not just trickery. It also is, how it can really move people. Because when people are in an altered space, transformation can happen a lot easier. Magic can do that for sure.
Well, I mean, I do a little sleight of hand just to entertain the children. That's basically what it was. Just, had little red squishy balls just to entertain the children, making them move from one hand to the other, or make them come out of their ear. Unfortunately, now that I've done it and they know that I can do it, every time I see these children, they always, pull your thumb off. I always do the pull my thumb off stuff. But so I get what you're saying there. I've actually had adults who I had a grape and I made it disappear, and actually I had eaten it, and she didn't see any of that, and she was just looked at me like she was stunned. She's like, "But where did the grape go?" She this is a grown woman, but where did the grape go?
Wow.
I'm not telling you where the grape. I'm not telling you where the grape went. It's magic. It's gone. That's really interesting. That because I was never really sure. Obviously, I've seen magicians. My son really loved magicians when he was young, and we had a magician come and do a birthday show for him. But I never really thought about how did they become, was there a mentorship program? Was there a school? How do you learn these things? How do you learn these tricks of the trade? That's interesting to me. And you had also mentioned something that I wanted to follow up on. You said real magic. What is real magic versus just the magic that we see David Copperfield doing?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll tell you what I think real magic is. And our culture uses that term all the time too, right? A magical experience. That sunset was magical.
Right.
And when they're saying that, they're not saying, oh my God, someone just threw colors in the sky. It was a magic trick. How'd they do that? They were saying, wow, that is so beautiful. So I think real magic is, I guess there's muggles, right? There's the reality police. The muggles can't ever see magic or believe in something that the reality police doesn't tell them, tells them is not a reality. I'm not sure if I said that right, but the reality, I like to think of the reality police because they're the people who say that's not real. Children will ask me, or even adults, do you believe in unicorns? Or I believe everything is possible, right? Everything is possible. So magic is the unexpected. Magic is love. Magic is beauty. Magic is the unseen. Magic is thinking of something or someone and then it happens, right? Like with your fingers. Magic is, oh gosh, I want to believe more in real magic. I want to believe that we have the power to heal the planet and justice for all beings. And, I think that's why I do magic or mentalism or psychic entertainment, because I think, and again, I'm really into fairies. Are fairies magic? Like, to me, they're real. But isn't even planting seeds, because I'm really into gardening, planting seeds and plants coming up, that's magic. Like, real magic is, yeah.
You mean, at some point it was magic that we could take a breath and live. We couldn't see the air. We can't see the oxygen in the air, but it's keeping us alive. I mean, there are, and the worst thing you can do, in my opinion, the worst thing you can do ever is kill that spark in a child, kill that sense of wonder in a child and say, well, no, that's not, Santa Claus doesn't exist, or this things unicorns don't exist, fairies don't exist. I do think, I agree with you that children, they'll say the darndest things. They'll scare the hell out of you sometimes. I mean, the things they're saying that they should have no way of knowing. I do think that they probably do have something, and all of us have something initially, until it is beat out of you by a grown-up or an adult who tells you, that's not real. You better, don't waste your time believing that. Don't waste your time pursuing that. That's the worst thing you can do, to me, for a kid. I mean, it's so, my daughter, I remember when my daughter came to me, and we had our kids believing in Santa Claus forever. And, she came to me when she was like 8 or 9, and she's like, Dad, the kids at school are telling me Santa's not real. Is Santa real or not real? And then my response was, if you don't believe in Santa, you're not getting gifts from Santa. Well, and that's true, right? That's true. If you don't believe in him, you're getting gifts from me. But, the way you pose it, and then she's like, oh, okay. And then she turned and walked away, and I got away with it for another year. But,
that's hilarious.
But, I hate knocking that light out, because once that spark is gone, then it's like, how much longer before, the dreams of being an actress, or the dreams of being a musician, or the dreams of being whatever are gone too. And then you end up working in a cube all day, hating your life. I just think that's the beginning of the end when you start tamping down their light. So, but let me...
Exactly. Yeah.
So what do you mean by, there's magic within all of us. Do you believe that, one, obviously that we have gifts, but do you also think that really kind of magic flows through the universe, kind of like the Force and Star Wars, and it's just something that we need to be able to reach out and touch and take what we need?
Yeah.
I know I use the Star Wars reference, but...
No, it's great. I love the Force. So, yeah, gosh, I don't have the final thought on it, but I definitely do believe in energy, and that everything is made of energy, right? Which is why you can, being in an altered state of consciousness, I think a lot of times that's why people do drugs and things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're searching for that openness in their being. So yes, definitely. You could call it the force. Some people call it God. A lot of people don't like that term because, I grew up Jewish, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the Judeo-Christian belief of God is like this old man. That's just so limiting.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Not good.
Well, whenever you
Helpful.
whenever you place an actual vision on somebody, it really comes down to the artist at that point. That artist said, okay, he's a white man with a beard, and so now this is your God. And wait a minute, that could mean something different for everyone. Who knows what that all is. I hate when why does Santa Claus have to be a big fat white guy with a white beard? It could be all kinds of things. But now,
Yeah.
So I also heard, okay, I'm just going to go in here. So I was listening to something else, you talking, and I heard something about divinations. And what do you mean by divinations? Like I said, I'm a full believer in mystical forces. I'm even sure I shouldn't mess with them. Maybe it's just me, but are those things safe? Is it safe to be? What do you mean by divinations?
Well, yeah. So you just talked about mystical forces, and that is related to the question you just asked, correct? That energy we're talking about, the force. Right. And the joy I feel just walking in my neighborhood, seeing a hawk, a squirrel, it's that connection to something greater. We all want meaning. So divination is, I don't think there's anything to be scared of with that concept, because divination, all that means, again, the literal etymology is to be inspired by a god, but divination for people means mind reading. I mean, not mind reading, fortune telling, excuse me,
Okay.
fortune telling. So it could be like, I use a crystal ball, which is called scrying in my show. And you could do it a variety of ways. You could just ask the question and look at the clouds in the sky.
Or throw runes on the ground, or throw chicken bones on the ground, like back in the day, right? When the sorcerer back in the day that's how they would tell the future. They were just throwing random pieces of trash on the ground and somehow reading it.
Okay, I'm vegan, so it would be like vegan chicken.
Oh, there you go.
And then, but it could be anything exactly. I do it with clouds a lot. I ask questions, or I'll look at bark or something. Yeah, hopefully you're not throwing trash on the ground, but yeah, exactly. So there's nothing to be scared of because it's your own. You're tapping into the universal energy to get your own wisdom.
Well, let me ask you this: aren't there some of those things though that you maybe like Ouija boards? I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I don't know if you believe in that kind of thing or not. That to me is tapping into something that you probably shouldn't mess with, and I'm terrified of Ouija boards and and what you might be contacting. It's weird how something Milton Bradley produces 500,000 of them a day, and I'm scared to death of them. Can't look at them in a house. Think it's only just a portal to hell or something, someplace terrible. Do you believe anything like that?
Really
Am I going crazy now?
No, because I had a bad experience with Ouija board. I went to the sleepover party when I was a girl, like, when girls were having sleepover parties when I was young. And we were playing the Ouija board, and the spirit said something to the effect of, someone at this party is going to get really hurt. And then they asked for the name, and it was my name.
Oh.
And because of that, I stayed away from Ouija boards, unbelievably so. Like, I'm not into Ouija boards because so it's so funny that you have that negative connotation too. But I don't know, what's a Ouija board produced by, like, Hallmark or something? I mean,
no, I think it's Hasbro or Milton Bradley, one of those two.
Yeah, it's a game, like a gaming. It's what I mean, not Hallmark. Yeah, it was a game, and yet now it's become this satanic. Right, people are so scared of.
Well, I mean, they've been around for thousands of years in one form or another, but they just kind of been mass produced. So, I mean, it makes sense to me that we're talking about helpful energies and kind energies. It makes sense to me that there's also some things that you don't want to mess with in the world. And I had a show where I told a story about a woman who, it was a paranormal story. It started off with her playing alone on a Ouija board. And then she was also reciting incantations in a language that she didn't understand. And then,
wow.
I mean, it was all kinds of weird. And then she starts having these, satanic in her mind, spiritual things happening to her and scaring her. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you, A, you're messing with the Ouija board. B, you're doing incantations that you don't even know what you're saying. How do you even figure that out? How do you even know that you're saying it right? I just, I don't know. I'll be honest with you, though. I did schedule a meeting with a woman who that's her job, and that's what she does is work Ouija boards. And I'm going to talk to her about it, even though I'm terrified of them, and just kind of see where she's coming from. If she thinks that they're, a positive thing and it can be used for good. I don't see it. I think that could be like a 5-minute conversation between her and I.
That's awesome. Wait, so that's her job? People come to her and she reads the Ouija board and gives answers?
Right, she does Ouija board.
Is she a medium?
Yes.
Also?
Yes. Yeah, she does Ouija board work. Again, just they'll do a seance or they'll work the Ouija board together and
cool.
Yeah, she answers the questions. And she feels that it's a very positive thing. So I need to get that point of view because I don't have it. I think that they're horrible. But
how could they be, really? How could they be? Because it's just a board. I mean, I don't mean to say just, but like you said a couple times, they're just mass produced. So
yeah,
it's kind of like a car, and then the human and the spirit that you contact, I guess, are the energies moving the car. So is it the Ouija board that you're scared of, or the weird dead people that you could access through the Ouija board?
That. Whatever it is. If they told me that the door to my closet opened a portal to hell, I wouldn't go to the door to my closet. So that's really what it is. It's not the board. It's what the board represents. Yeah, you did. It's what the board represents to me. So do you also, and I don't know, I mean, I'm taking shots in the dark here. Have you ever astral projected or tried something like those type of scenarios, or do you do meditation? How do you clear your mind for what you do with the psychic entertainment?
Yeah, so I'm an avid meditator. And when I was younger, in my 20s, I went to India to become enlightened. Back when I thought it was a thing that you could actually accomplish. It didn't work. I don't believe it anymore, but I was there a long time.
Yeah.
And I did all kinds of silent 10-day meditation retreats and different. Anyway, my best experiences there was when I can give back. It wasn't meditating, but it started my lifelong meditation practice. Sorry, you were going to ask a question.
No, yeah, I'm going to ask you, how do you start that? I tried to meditate one time, and I'm really interested to try. I really do, because I also talked to a man who did astral projection, and that's how he started astral projection, was through meditation. And I've tried it once or twice and I just fall asleep. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Because I know I'm not supposed to fall asleep, but whenever I slow my mind down, my body says, okay, time to shut off, and it just shuts off and I fall asleep. How would I start meditation?
Yeah. So were you sitting up and just focusing on your breath? What were you doing? Is that what you were doing?
Yeah. I tried to, and maybe again, it was early in the morning. I thought, okay, I'll do it when I first wake up. Maybe I was still sleepy when I first woke up. But yeah, I sat in a darkened room and I was, sitting in front of the couch, eyes closed, trying to clear my mind and just think of my breath. And then before I knew it, I was late for work. I mean, I had fallen asleep. And so
you have to set a timer.
Yeah.
So I don't think you were doing it wrong because you fell asleep. I think lots of people fall asleep. I've taken meditation now and again, retreats or something, and I've fallen asleep, or you'll be in the room and you hear someone snoring. So it's not the goal. The goal is not to fall asleep. But if you fall asleep, it's kind of like thinking. When you're meditating and you're thinking, it's not as if you're doing it wrong. That's part of meditating. Right? Is how do you handle the thinking? But I do think for a lot of the spiritual practice, like astral projection or divination or telepathy, meditation is key. So a couple of things. There's a lot of different kinds of meditation. There's a really great app that it's not always the best because a lot of it is guided imagery, but it can really help calm the mind, because I think the best kind of meditation is what you were trying to do, which is focusing on your breath. So there's a really good app. It's free on the phone called Insight Timer, and they have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of free meditations. And if you just want to do a focusing on the breath, you can find it. Or if you want to do body scans or different kinds of meditation. So there's that.
Okay.
But yeah, so you would ideally sit up and you relax your body. The more you can scan your body, you can start at the top of your head and feel your body relaxing, and then focusing on your breathing. And it's really good to focus on the air coming in and out through the nostrils. So the cool air coming in and the warm air going out. And then you start thinking, before you know it, you're down the rabbit hole of what you're going to have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and everything in between. You just come back to your breath. And you could start with 5 minutes. You could start with 3 minutes, and, for a week or two, and then you could increase it more and more. It's really nice to create a little altar, a little spiritual altar. You could just have a candle on there, or pictures of what's meaningful to you, or if Star Wars is your thing, you could have Yoda,
Yeah.
and the Force. I want to be as powerful as Yoda. But I do think that meditation is, and Tara Brach, she also has tons and tons. You could Google her free meditations, and she's really good because she'll have 30-minute meditations and she barely talks. It's just focusing. She kind of helps you bring it back to your breathing.
And so you're not supposed to necessarily be thinking about what's going on all around you. You're supposed to be clearing the mind, right? That is the goal. Are you supposed to be purposefully pushing things out of your brain, or are you allowed to let things kind of naturally flow in?
Yeah, kind of both. I mean, it's really hard not to think, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah,
and
for
so
sure.
The goal is, yes, obviously, is to calm your mind. But really, the most important thing is noticing your thinking, right? So, I don't like this, but a lot of teachers, this is not my thing. But some people will be like, okay, so you're sitting there, focusing on your breath. I'm thinking. That doesn't help me when I label it thinking. But for a lot of people, you label it thinking and you come back to your breath. You can use different techniques to come back, right? And for some people, thinking is one of them. They'll say, I'm thinking. Come back to the breath. And maybe sometimes it feels like battle. Like, I don't know if you remember from that one time that you did it. It definitely does, because, and then it's not just thoughts, it's feelings. Like, you might get angry while you're sitting there. And then you're learning to be present with everything. And that's powerful. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I mean,
no, it does. I mean, like I said, I wanted to try it because my brain has a tendency to go nonstop 100 miles a minute. And I wanted to have that moment of peace and try to figure out how to do that and to calm myself and to kind of work it out. So it is definitely something that I still want to try. I still want to,
try it 5 minutes even a day. And again, and don't get mad if you're thinking or fall asleep. Just be like, okay, tomorrow. That was a good nap.
So I have a few more minutes, and what I wanted to know in those couple of minutes, one, you also provide some motivational speaking as part of your services, correct? You also will do large parties, motivational speaking?
Yes, definitely. Mm-hmm.
What do you get out of that? I think one of them was how to develop a super memory, and I would love to be a part of that speech. How does that go? I mean, what are some, obviously not giving away the whole book here, but what are some just quick things on how to improve your memory?
Right. Again, meditation helps.
Oh.
Like, it's part of the reason we're not remembering things is because we're not paying attention. So you walk into the house, you're instantly talking to your wife, you put something down, you don't remember at all where you put it. You were working at your computer, you wanted to go get a glass of water, but as you walk there, you put your phone somewhere, you have no idea where you put your phone, right? Paying attention. So a lot of memory techniques are all based on how can I make this interesting? Because we remember what's interesting, right? So our partner tells us to do something and we don't remember because really we did not care, right? So if we cared, if we really were invested, so we have to be invested. So, okay, so Pete, you're at your computer or something. What is something that you misplace frequently? Is there something?
Something I misplace frequently. Maybe my reading glasses. I'm at an age where a man needs reading glasses, and I have them in every room of the house, and I still somehow misplace them.
Right. So what you would do now, again, it's going to take a little bit of training. So say you are sitting on the couch reading something, and then you go into the other room and haphazardly you just put your glasses down. So what you would do is, as you're getting up and you're taking your glasses down, you're going to say, oh, okay, so what's something you might put your glasses on? Like what's an object that you might, a table, a chair,
a side
ottoman.
table. Yeah, right.
A side table. Okay. So you put it on the side table and then you get up. So then you would imagine the glasses, say, suddenly the table comes alive and is wearing the glasses. So this does not take long. What I love about memory techniques is not only do they help improve your memory, but they're really fun and they help with creativity, because almost all memory techniques, not all of them, but a lot of them are based on creativity and imagination. The weirder you make it, the better. You can make it sexy, violent, whatever, anything that stands out, right? So, so you get up, you put the glasses down on the coffee table, and you take 1 second, and suddenly you imagine the coffee table coming to life, wearing your glasses, and sticking their nose out at you, or their tongue out at you. So you go in the kitchen, you putz around, you answer the phone, and then suddenly you think, where are my glasses? And I can bet you 100%, if you created that image, even in a split second, you will definitely remember where your glasses are. Because I see that when I do this all throughout the day, I never lose things. And when I don't, I'm losing things because I just didn't take the time, right? So you're working, you put your pen down, suddenly you stuck your pen in the desk and blood went everywhere. Okay, so that's one form of remembering things. And you can do it also. Do you ever go into a room and not remember why you went there?
All the time. Absolutely.
Okay. So what you do with that one is so let's just say you're going into the kitchen to make coffee. I don't know. Would you ever forget that one? I don't know.
That's one thing I never forget.
Okay. So say you went into, so you're working and suddenly you go, I want that book. Mm-hmm. And then you walked and you got so distracted. For me, I see one of the companion animals, the dog, cat that lives here, or I'll see a plant that needs watering. It's like, by the time I got to the room where the book is, it's like an hour ago. So what you do is, as you're getting up, the same thing you do with the glasses, you imagine, just take a second and imagine standing in that room with maybe suddenly from the ceiling 5,000 of that same book fall on you and you're crushed. You can barely breathe. So suddenly you walk through the room. For me, I pet the cat, the dog, I walk, and suddenly I'm in the room. I'm like, why am I here? And then boom, that image in my head of being crushed by books. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So
and then the third thing, sorry.
No, I'm just saying, so you're helping making mental pictures. Yeah, go ahead. What's the third thing?
It's all association. And then remembering names is exactly the same way. I don't know. I know we're almost at time, but like I could tell you some quick ways to remember names,
sure.
But it's all about association and making it interesting. And you want me to tell you quickly about?
Yeah, names are probably the most important thing that you can remember. You know, I can stand to look for my glasses a bit, but knowing someone's name, you know, when they walk in, you haven't seen them in a while, and being able to remember their name, maybe they just met you once, it makes an incredible impression on people. It is a very powerful thing, for sure.
Yeah, so we could probably spend a whole hour just on the names, but just quickly, there's two totally different techniques. There's HSSRUS. It's an acronym I made up. Mm-hmm. And then there's the associations. But just quickly to kind of abbreviate the HSSRUS because it's too long. Again, someone tells you their name, and when people say, I forgot your name, it wasn't true. It should have been, I never heard your name. Because often, hi, my name's Amanda. Oh, hi. And then, like, you turn. I mean, have you ever met someone and literally within a second you realize, I have no idea what they just said, what their name was?
About 1,000 times, yeah.
Okay, so that's because you didn't.
I didn't listen. I wasn't listening. Yeah.
Yeah. So hear the name. Someone says a name, you have to hear it, and then say it in your head. So someone says, "Hi, my name's Amanda." You go, Amanda. Like, that alone will improve your memory for names massively, because and then it's even better if you can spell the name. That's what one of the SS's is. And then if it's a weird name and you don't know how it's spelled, like, well, my name, for instance, my name's not weird, but it could be CKKE. And so you could say, Erica, is that ERICA? Erica. I mean, each time and then when you spell it, it's in your head, right? And then, of course, most people know you need to use the name. So as soon as, what I try to do is when people say my name is, I immediately say, oh, Jessica, so nice to meet you. And then I'll spell it. Jessica.
That's the one I do. That's the one. So if somebody says to me, hi, I'm Erica. Hi, Erica, how are you? And then as I'm walking away, Erica, it was nice to meet you. And so I've said your name twice now, as well as hear it, because that's really what I have to do. I have to repeat it at least 2, if not 3 times.
How successful is that? For you?
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. It all depends on distance, how long we're apart. If it's something that I see them once a week, then it works really well. If it's something that I see them once a year, then maybe it's a little bit harder.
And that's where the advanced memory techniques will come in. So there's that. And even with that, what you're doing was saying that, and you can also do more things like, but this is not the advanced technique. I'll tell you what that is quickly. You can also say, try to make an association just of the name. So Jessica, wow, I don't have any friends named Jessica. Or Jessica, that's so funny. My favorite aunt's name is Jessica. So if you could try to make some sort of, even if it's dumb, like America, oh.
Yeah.
That's our country. I don't know.
That's right.
Stupid, but anyway, so the more advanced technique is associating, right? So every name has, so you would meet someone and you pick out, we'll just really go quickly. We're not going to have time to go into this, but you pick out one of their really cool features. Maybe they have an interesting nose. Maybe it's their hair. Maybe it's they have big ears, right?
Right.
And then you make up something like, okay, I remember when I was teaching at a festival last summer that sadly is going to be canceled again because of coronavirus.
Right.
So I taught memory. I remember when I was teaching it, a lot of people were saying, I started with myself. So Erica, they visualized America, and I have a lot of hair. So I covered in hair. So, right. So when they looked at my face, they'd see my face as America, right? So and I'm sorry, I'm getting this out really fast. It's a much longer, complicated, but you pick a feature, then you pick an association with the name, and then you pair it together. And then you'll never forget the person's name, even a year later, I swear.
All right.
But you'll look at the face, because people remember faces better than names. I mean, right?
No, absolutely. Yeah. I never forget a face, but there are times when I'll remember if I've seen somebody when I was 13. But yeah, well, what was that guy's name again? Boy, it was named Tom. I don't know. Yeah, I'm really good with the facial features, but remembering the names are more difficult for sure. But those are great tips, great techniques.
Yeah, it sounds like you're already applying a lot of it, so that's good.
Well, I also. When you're working, even just working in a corporate world, and you have a lot of people that you have to talk to all the time, and you see them, hey, Hal, hey, Tom, you have to kind of, it's all about, giving the right impression to people, making friends and influencing people, right? And the first part of that is, greeting them in a way that they think that you really care, and by saying their name, that helps. So I take that pretty seriously personally. I like to try to make people feel good about themselves when we meet, if I can.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Right. They say that hearing a person's name makes them so happy, and then I'll teach realtors, because they have to remember, and then you can start extending it to little facts. So when you see them, oh, how was Sammy's basketball game?
Yep.
Right, not just the name, because you're talking about the corporate world. Yeah, relationship is key.
That's right, and because then they think, wow, that Pete's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. And so then that's the lasting impression they have, is that I'm a nice guy, and they like working with me. And so then, okay, great. And that's kind of what you're hoping for in reality. That's what I'm hoping for. So I had some other questions. We kind of got rolling, but my last question then is for you is, in addition to buying and reading the book, and again, your book is The Empath: Journey to the Magic Within. What can people do today to put themselves on the empath? How can we break out of, kind of the monotonous stuff that we're doing now, especially now, because we've been in the house for a month and a half, 2 months, haven't been able to leave the front room. What can we do today to get ourselves on the empath?
Yeah. So I think it's finding the life around you. So if there's plants in your house or animals, right, it's starting that communication. So, I mean, getting outside, if you can get outside, I realize a lot of people can't. If you could get outside and connecting to the elements, earth, air, fire, water, connecting with the sun, the stars, the trees, and just feeling energy, like feeling that there's more to life than meets the eye. So communicating with our house plants, right, by just saying good morning to them like we would to a friend or someone in our family in our house. And same with our animals. And if you can get outside, even better. And I think, again, I think it's great. You talked about meditation. That's really important. And trusting ourselves and knowing that we have the answers. I think the reason most of us don't think that we're intuitive or psychic is because we haven't learned to trust ourselves. You could write down your dreams. They have messages. And also, if you want to even get more psychic, you could even write down just when you wake up what you think will happen in that day and then look at it at night. Now, that's definitely getting more advanced.
Sure.
But just like you're talking about, to tap into the magic within, it's allowing spirit to come through us, whether it's through prayer or meditation.
Yeah, that is my goal. And as again, it sounds weird and people laugh at me when I say that. There is not a day that goes by when I don't look at the water bottle on the table and try to move it with my mind. I mean, honestly, I try to move it. And I'm positive one of these days that water bottle is going to slide and I'm going to lose I'm just going to be so happy. It's like, I did that. I moved it because I believe it, because I believe those things. I do believe that, that there is, I agree with you, that there is that energy. You can absolutely feel energy. You can feel energy when people walk into the room. You can feel energy when people pass away. You can feel, it's real. It's there. I mean, so why can't you do those things as well? Why can't you find a way to tap into it? I just think it's maybe a door in the mind that I haven't found yet and hasn't been opened yet. So yeah, those are good. That's good advice. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
No, yeah, thank you so much for joining the show today. I know you probably don't have any public appearances coming up. I'm assuming you're probably locked down the way everybody else is. But do you have anything else, like a new book that you're working on, or some other thing that you would like to take a moment and plug for us right now?
Well, the book, The Empath, Journey to the Magic Within, while it's not new, you can get that on my website, ericasodos.com. And it's true that my show, the last Saturday of every month, is, although the owner of the nightclub called me a couple weeks ago and said, she's like, let's try to do May, which would be May 30th. It's hard to imagine at this point that the restaurant's not even open, let alone the club.
Right.
So, and I appreciate you giving all that at the beginning. People can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I've been posting more videos. And I have been booking some Zoom shows, speaking. I can still do that, performances. But yes, right now I don't have any live. I've had conferences as far out as September canceled. So only, I don't know. No psychics know when that's going to start again.
Right. So you're able to do, you're able to do, do you do like tarot I'm saying tarot wrong, but do you do those type of readings or are you able to do that on Zoom? I don't know if you can do palm readings on Zoom, but you can do some type of.
Yeah. I actually have done some on Skype in the last month. believe it or not.
No,
Yeah.
I believe it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because to your point,
Yeah, I did private readings. Mm-hmm.
Because to your point, I'm in a band on the weekend, and it's the same thing you're saying. We play weekend shows, and we haven't played in a month and a half, and the restaurants aren't open, and the bands and so we've had a lot of bands in the neighborhood or in the local area here. They're streaming on Facebook, they're streaming on YouTube. They're just trying to find some way to continue to connect with people who are shut in the house and who might be interested in watching them and listen. So people have really, I think, imagine if this had happened 20 years ago when we had America Online, and we're trying to dial in, and we have 200 minutes of unlimited texting, and that's it on our phone, and it's not a smartphone. We would be losing our minds. This is not as bad as it could have been, for sure.
Right.
So.
Yeah, like what you're talking about, the bands, a lot of people have mentioned I should offer my psychic show, like the one I do at the Mercury Cafe in Denver, offer it through Zoom. But I haven't. I mean, if someone hires and calls me, I am doing it, but I haven't, produced my show at that. Obviously you're in a band. I love live.
Yeah.
So I know Zoom is live, but not quite. But yeah, so if people follow me, then they can find out if we get to that. Because we don't even know, right? I mean, all festivals and shows, when are theaters going to open? Not in the summer. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't. I haven't done any of those Zoom things or Facebook Live or anything. I haven't done any of that because there is no replacement to me for having people in front of you.
Agreed.
The live
Agreed.
people there. I don't just do it. Some people say, "Oh, I would play music no matter what. I play it in my pajamas in the bedroom." Okay. I'm not one of those people. I really feed off of the interaction with the people who are dancing and enjoying what I'm doing. I'm giving them something and they're giving me something. It's a reciprocal thing. When it's live online, it's just me singing into a Logitech camera, and it just seems weird. So I haven't done any of that. I'll just wait my turn until everything opens back up, and we'll go back out again. So,
yeah. I do know what you say. It's definitely, the relationship that you get live is pretty magical.
Nothing beats
real
it.
Magic.
Nothing beats it for sure. So once again, thanks again, Erica Sodos. She, again, a mentalist, magician, a psychic, entertainer, all around great person. Hopefully you'll be able to go ahead and start up your shows again soon. And kind of get that interaction again that we're talking about. But I really thank you for joining me tonight, and it's been a great conversation, I think. I've had a lot of fun. Hopefully you have too, and maybe we can talk again and I can ask the rest of those questions I had next time.
Definitely, Pete. I really enjoyed chatting with you. You asked great questions, and I hope it was inspiring to you and your listeners, and I'd love to come back. So thank you so much.
Great. Thank you too. Have a good evening. Thanks. Okay.
Stay healthy. You too, Pete.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So once again, that's Erica Sodos. And again, she is a psychic entertainer, mentalist, and magician. And, unfortunately, we didn't get a whole lot into the psychic part of it, but I have a lot of psychics on the show as well. I was really interested in the magic part of it. How do you become a magician? Where does that start? How does it go? I guess she went to a school for that. And also the mentalism part. And there was some pretty interesting things there when she's talking about my index finger versus the ring finger, kind of giving me a little bit of a quick and dirty astrological reading. I am one of those you have to show me for me to believe it kind of guys. And it's interesting because I have a show where I talk to a lot of people who are kind of on the fringe, and they do fringe things. They investigate, monsters or cryptids or whatever, or we're talking ghosts, or we're talking psychic abilities, astral projection, things like that, things that are kind of on the fringe of science. But at the same time, I really am a person who is firmly rooted in, I'll believe it when I see it in a lot of cases, and I want to see it. And that's why I have these discussions. So it was pretty interesting when I say, well, I don't know what I think about astrology. Is it just mass hysteria? Are they just kind of fitting you in? And then she kind of rambles off some things that do kind of fit me again. I don't know what your thoughts are. Do you believe in palm reading, astrology, tarot cards, the whole the mentalist psychic entertainment. If you have questions or comments, or you do believe in it yourself and you want to share some of that with us, you can do that online. ProveMeWrongcast@gmail.com. That's our email address. You can also leave us a note on Facebook or Instagram. It's Prove Me Wrong, just the name of the show. You can search for us and you'll find us. If you're just looking for content, looking for the podcast itself, we are on SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, Spotify, Tunein Radio, really any platform that you find podcasts, you can find the Prove Me Wrong podcast. Then if you would, like and subscribe to the page, and you will be notified every week when a brand new episode is released. We typically release one episode a week. So we're also on YouTube. You can like and subscribe to the YouTube page, the Prove Me Wrong YouTube page. Once again, you'll be notified when a brand new episode comes out every week. So it was, like I said, interesting stuff. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you trust the Ouija board. I don't trust the Ouija board. I think I've mentioned that 100 times now. I don't know how many more times I have to. But I find it funny that Erica also had a negative experience with a Ouija board. I'm telling you, I could ask 100 people, 98 of them would have a negative experience with a Ouija board. But they still get sold. They still get made. I'm ranting about a Ouija board. Before we go, I do want to say tonight that tonight's broadcast of the Prove Me Wrong podcast is brought to you by Java Remix. Java Remix is the perfect blend of 100% organic Arabica coffee. It's infused with nano-emulsified CBD. You can start your day off on the right foot with a great tasting cup of coffee with all the demonstrated benefits of CBD. Java Remix offers traditional ground coffee as well as single-serve K-cups in both regular and decaf. And if you don't like coffee, they also offer teas and beauty products like bath bombs and body scrubs. So something for everyone. As an added benefit for our Prove Me Wrong listeners, if you go online right now, javaremix.com, and put in the promo code Prove Me Wrong, you'll get an additional 20% off of your entire order. And Java Remix offers free shipping for all orders over $40, so you literally have no reason not to give it a try. Once again, that's javaremix.com, promo code Prove Me Wrong. The Prove Me Wrong podcast is brought to you tonight by ZendoZones citronella burners from J.T. Eaton. They are shaped like fearless little tiki gods, so you can let Surf and Stan, Hawaiian Howie, and Luau Lily bring the islands to your backyard with ZendoZones citronella burners. ZendoZones uses natural 3% citronella candles and incense cones, and they're perfect for patios, decks, backyards, campsites, poolside, and more. You can enjoy the outdoors again. They are available on Amazon.com and at select Ace Hardware stores. Go ahead and collect them all today. So once again, for my guest tonight, Miss Erica Sodos, I am Pete Lieb. This is the Prove Me Wrong podcast, and we'll talk to you again soon.